Well, I think in some ways, I think it's very easy for calls, for people to make calls for heads to roll.
Would it be helpful if he went for people's faith in the system?
Well, I'll be honest, Ryan, he's leaving in about 2 months' time,
yeah, but this is a
3 months' time
symbolic
anyway.
departure, isn't it?
We've already, the clinical director of cervical check has already stepped aside. This was not something that actually ever landed on his desk. And at its heart, as I said to you there, the root or one of the major problems, and perhaps the review will reveal more systemic problems with the actual screening process, but at its heart, this was a problem about disclosure and the failure to disclose to patients. He has vocally and publicly called for mandatory open disclosure, and those calls have been ignored.
But has he implemented the training for the open disclosure? In the UK, when they brought in videos, training programs. Last week, all of a sudden, the Department of Health and the HSE are saying, we're all for open disclosure. I have to tell you, my experience of those two entities in the 25 years that I've come back here is they're well capable of cover-up.
Well, look, I don't think...
Cover-up of?
All kinds of problems, deficiencies in service, waiting lists, fudging waiting lists, pretending treatments exist and are widely available when they're not, saying that there are no problems with staffing levels when there are. Trust me, they're heavily spun. These are not organisations, I believe, that have a culture of
candor. Why is that facilitated and why is that allowed to happen in the 21st century?
Because big corporate organisations develop senses of corporate loyalty and that's the way they feel. I think...
So it's a groupthink?
You'll have to get a management expert to speak on that, Ryan, but
I think Ireland and indeed the health service doesn't do accountability very well. A couple of years ago, people might remember there was a scandal in Portlaoise Hospital. Your own station, exactly, aired an investigation where a number of babies had died and patients were lied to. And there have been no real repercussions there. HICWA did a very good report into what went wrong or an investigation. The HSE initiated its own probe into what staff made mistakes.
And the result was?
Oh, it hasn't been published,
Well, there, you're back to John's point. Okay.
Well, look, for the record, I believe the HSE has been a failed experiment. I believe it should be closed down. I believe we need to reform the health service.